This is Ravens Flock Talk Podcast, coming to you every week with their thoughts and opinions on each and every Ravens game. Tune in weekly and join the flock.
This is Ravens Flock Talk. I am your host, Brandon, and my dad joins me as my other host. Week 3 in Dallas, America's Game of the Week. Pretty boy Tom Brady calling the first Ravens game. So it was pretty interesting, pretty new for us. And man, the Ravens, they can't win without giving you a heart attack. I mean, complete domination in the first half, coming out of halftime. And then once again, another John Harbaugh fourth quarter blunder where you're sitting there thinking, are we going to blow this game? Is this going to be our season? And Lamar Jackson put on a Superman cape. Zay Flowers made some big catches. And we end up squeaking by with a win. But man, kind of a bittersweet win for a lot of Ravens fans that I'm seeing online. But a win is a win, and we're going to be moving on to Buffalo, but wow, that was a nail-biter at the end.
A win is right, and the thing about it, we're 0-2, so you can't go 0-3 in this league. So this was a must-win, as we said last week. Happy to have the win. Agree with everything you said in summary in terms of a nail-biter, and it had to be much harder than it looked on paper. So, hey, I just feel good that we're here saying that,
yeah.
We're 1-2 now. So.
It's a big relief, to kind of get that monkey off your back, get the first win underneath your belt. It's unusual for us. Again, we haven't started 0-2 since 2015, so it's like, man, I mean, is it really going to take this amount of work just to get a win? We're not Washington or Carolina, but we have a tough schedule starting out, and this was not an easy game. No. I did not think it was going to be an easy game, so it was kind of naive of me to think this was going to be a breeze, and I was trying to calm you down during the game, and you ended up being right. I got to eat my words because my dad proved me wrong because I was sitting there sweating thinking that we were going to blow this game. But, I on the flip side, I will say this, had Zay Flowers recovered the onside kick, this game wouldn't have been as close as it was. So that gave them life. And then their last scoring drive, I mean, Marcus Williams got hit with a BS pass interference call, and me and you are always hard on Marcus. Yeah, so to his credit, it was tick-tacky. Owe got a
personal foul,
a BS roughing the passer. So it was obviously blatant. The refs were trying to get Dallas back in this game, and I'm not a proponent of always blaming the refs, but it was so one-sided in that second half in terms of the calling on the field.
Yeah, I'd sure like to know the stats on the penalties in the second half. But, yeah, I totally agree. And again, we hate to blame refs. It's a long game. I told Brandon, hey, it's 4 quarters. I'm with this team, you just never know. And then with any team, you never know. So, we had our foot on their necks in the first half. Coming out, we did great drives. My biggest takeaway, Brandon, from this game was from the opening start. And you know that I'm hard on Todd Monken. We both are.
Yep.
But he mixed it up on that first drive the way we've always wanted to see him mix it up.
Not only, but he also stuck to his game plan, too.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we were grounding and pounding all game.
But that's what I mean. We have the weapons on the ground. We have the weapons in the air, and he mixed it up where they were totally confused. They didn't know, especially the run game, which all these fans were looking for this run game with Henry and Lamar and Justice Hill. The short season, the 3 games.
No, I'm saying in the offseason, we were hoping for this, who's going to get the ball.
Yeah, that was the whole mystery. Can you imagine a defense trying to defend that? And it was done to perfection on that first drive. So I was so happy to see that. They continued with it. They continued with the plan. We've been complaining about
right out of halftime, too.
Right out of halftime. I
went down there just like the opening drive and scored.
I can't. I have to admit, Todd stuck to his game plan. He did things like I believe a lot of fans, including us, wanted him to do. Harbaugh actually didn't call a timeout
in the second half,
which is unbelievable. So I don't have a lot to complain about. And I think, like Brandon said, the refs took over in the second half that really made this game a lot closer than it should have been. And I hate to say that. We had opportunities, but hey, But how about that Aguilar catch in the first half? Oh my gosh, that set the whole tone when he made that, 51 yard.
He had a one catch for 56 yards. But I mean, me and you both said that, okay, he's done for the game.
Yeah,
he's not going to get another one.
Basically, he was. But I tell you what.
But to go back on your point, that's why Ravens fans are like, oh, and I get it. I mean, our fourth quarter blunders are bad, and I would say other games are much worse than this. This was more so, okay, you take out the Zay thing, it would never have been close, and then the refs were catering to Dallas at that point. So I give some Ravens some leeway. Back on Todd, I mean, even in crunch time, he stuck with the run to ice the game with Lamar. And Zay Flowers made up for not getting the onside kick. He got the second one, but then he also had a crucial third down catch that forced us to keep the drive alive instead of punting it. Because if we punted the ball, I honestly would have felt like we're going to lose.
Yeah, with the momentum in their favor on that.
With the game on the line, you need a guy who's going to get open. Who's going to be that guy? Right. And Zay stepped up.
Speaking of who's going to be that guy, finally our number 1 draft pick, Wiggins, gets a beautiful strip fumble. That's what we brought him in for. Good to see him out on the field, and he can only get better. So I was very happy to see him on the field and making that play. It was critical and it was crucial play in that.
He had a bad pass interference but got bailed out because it was offensive holding, so it was negated. That was big because they would have got the ball at the 1 and scored and made this game into, I believe, around a 2-score game at that point, but it was still like, I think, 28-6 or 21-6 at the time. So we got lucky, but that second half, man, the calls completely changed. And on penalties, I saw something crazy. So far in 2024, the Ravens are the most penalized team.
Wow, didn't know that.
31 penalties for 278 yards. Second is Cleveland with 29 for 212, and then third is Houston with 28 for 233. So we're the most penalized team.
Well, that explains why we came out of the gate 0-2 also, because you can't win like that. You can't be last in the league in penalties and expect to win.
It's shocking to hear that, but also it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we have not – our teams – historically have not been disciplined on the field, especially in critical situations. So yeah, I'm surprised that we're last, but
you mean first?
We're first
in penalties.
In penalties.
Yeah.
But
it all stems from coaching there. That's why John doesn't get off the hook, because where's the discipline? Where's the composure in the fourth quarter? Mm-hmm. Even though we got the win, it's like it went from, man, this is a great win, to man, it kind of sucked because we just lost it at the end,
Yeah, and I think that the thing that I hate most in terms of penalties is the personal fouls. You just cannot have that. That's a discipline type penalty. So, I say that. Switching gears a little bit, Brandon, I love the way they utilize Henry in this game. That's exactly the way he should be utilized. I think he had just the right number of carries, too, mixing it up. The only thing I would say is on third downs when he's not in the game, it's a big tip-off that we're going to pass the ball, but it usually is third and long, so you can't have him out there all the time. When they put Justice Hill in, everybody kind of knows what our scheme is.
Yeah.
So,
but Justice Hill, I mean, he is a nice, if the holes are open, he's a nice off-speed sort of component to Henry, because he's just so quick and elusive. And he had some nice carries. He had some nice catches. And, it prolonged some of these drives. So, it was a good mixture. What I like about Todd is that, we're so used to, even in the Greg Roman days, where, okay, we have the identity, we're running. But if we get down, oh, man, we're panicking and we're throwing. Now, we had the lead all the entire game, even when they started to come back. But Todd said, you know what, I'm going to dare you to stop the run. That's what I like to see. Until they prove it, keep doing it. And he stuck to his game plan. So this week, I give credit to Todd. He doesn't have our full trust yet, after one game, especially, towards the end. But, he called the right plays, and even there was moments where, like, the 3rd and 3, I think it was. Yeah, Jackson missed Andrews wide open. That was crucial.
Yeah.
5 minutes and 34 seconds left. And then Dallas comes back, the two bad penalties on Baltimore. Next thing you know, it's a one-score game, right? Yeah. So Todd had the play call right. Lamar also has to hit it. So, there's fault on Lamar's side as well. But overall, you can't complain. A win is a win, and we came out firing. We just need to finish strong.
Yep. And I don't want to negate the fact that the offensive line did very well too.
Yeah.
So they were on the hook for these last two games prior. And when I look at it and I think about it, they did a good job both in the running game and and having Lamar have some time back there to throw. So kudos to the offensive line. Kudos to Van Noy. That was crazy. 2 sacks for the old man.
We were getting pressure all game.
All day, yeah. So I love the pressure. And Dallas is known to have a good offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of worried with Micah Parsons, but the offensive line did great on the Henry. You mentioned Henry on his second touchdown. I mean, perfect blocking. Mm-hmm. He shot through the gap, and then ended up going towards the outside. I think he got a stiff arm maybe or two. But it was great, and we had good pressure on Dak. Also on the defensive side, for the first time in forever, you're seeing close coverage.
Oh,
It was nothing. Guys were not wide open. CeeDee Lamb was negated out of the game, which was nice after Devontae Adams killed us last week. Yeah. Everybody, I mean, it was. I want to see that every game. Playing like your life is on the line. It was aggressive. They were on them every time they caught the ball, immediately tackled or a contested ball. That's what I like to see.
I'm really glad you brought that up. That was the key to me on our defense. Was the corners finally, they're playing zone, but they were up on them.
Nothing was
easy, and that's the way I want to see Ravens play in the back end of their defense. So a lot of good things to say on the game. Want to be positive, because a win is is always good. So,
and we're back in the mix of things because Cleveland suffers a bad loss to the Giants. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody expected that. Chargers, I mean, listen, Pittsburgh's a good team. They have a great defense. But, I mean, they are pretty lucky with Herbert getting injured. Bosa got injured, didn't play the whole second half. But, we're back in the mix of things. Cincinnati.
And they're winning games under 21 points.
Yeah, if you think about it, we had the bad loss with the Raiders. Cleveland has the bad loss with the Giants. And Cincinnati had the bad loss with the Patriots. The only team is Pittsburgh that hasn't had a bad loss. So those bad losses from those other 3 teams I mentioned saved us because we're in the mix of things. We're 1-2 with Cleveland, and if Cincinnati wins tonight at the time of this recording, this is before the game, they're 1-2 as well. So, we needed this, and I'm glad we got it because we're back in the mix of things, and we got to come out firing next week against Buffalo.
Yeah, we said last week we could go, if we win this game, we could go 2-2 and be right back in the mix of things. Buffalo's coming here. That's a really good thing.
Fans are going to be crazy.
I know. I hope we come correct with the fans, and I know we will on that game. So a lot is in our favor. We feel much better than last week. And
one more thing I wanted to mention that we're forgetting, big play was Dak should have been a safety. It should have been a safety. That really would have depleted them. I mean, they were panning to the fans. The fans looked like they were at a funeral. I don't know how that's not a safety. He's in the end zone. He's not throwing to any receiver. The offensive line can't touch it. Even the commentators were going, woof, Dallas got off with one there. So that was a huge play.
And the internet's going viral on that play, and we were going viral in the house.
Confused,
too. How could you not? Even their expert commentator said, we expected to have a safety, but it's judgmental like they always do.
Yeah.
No judgment here, buddy. That should have been a safety. That would have changed the whole complexion of the game. And I think
they have to punt it. We get good field possession. We get the ball back.
They have to punt it. We get it exactly. And so that was a big, huge penalty. Exchange right there on a penalty. So.
And I don't think when we still got the ball back, but I don't think we converted any points out of it. But if you call that safety, right, offense comes on the field pumped up. Okay, defense, you did your job. We're going to take it from here. At that moment in the game, we had all the momentum. I mean, that was like going to be a double whammy.
That was the dagger. And we, and it's questionable that it's always in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And that's why the internet is blowing up, because we've seen this before from any team.
It would have really blew up if it was Kansas City.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One more thing that's kind of concerning outside of the fourth quarter blunders is at the time you're not sweating because it's 28-6. It was 10 minutes and 41 seconds left, but Tucker missed that field goal. And then because the game ended up being closer than it was, you're like, dang, well, maybe if he had made that field goal, we have a little bit more leeway. But their kicker made what, a 65-yarder and I think a 52, and Tucker missed a 46-yarder. And so first it was all these misses that he's missed above 50 yards. Now he misses a 46, which is basically a 50-yarder. But it's concerning because now all these other kickers, you thought you had the X factor in Tucker, and it's like now we don't think like that anymore.
Yeah, they took a chapter out of his book, and so that is kind of discerning. I always give him a pass because he's won so many games for us. But it's something going on in his head, I think, a little bit, because those 46 and 49-yard field goals were like extra points to him. So you can kind of tell it in his face. He's got frustration in his face. So we'll see. He's a veteran. He'll turn it around. It's early in the season.
It's like a shooter. You just got to see one go down to get your confidence back. And that was really the kick to get his confidence back, because we, at the time he kicked it, we're up 28-6.
Right.
There's no pressure, right?
Yeah.
So, it sucks, and I know people are going to be bagging on him, but Tucker, I agree with you, Dad. I think he's going to get back on the road. He's just got to get one to go down.
And you got to realize this was an away game too, so it gets a little bit dicier when it's not in your home field. But people better leave him alone. He has been our go-to guy forever. So if anybody can get a pass, it's going to be him and Lamar. So
yeah, I think last thing on the secondary, we commented on how good they were. When Dallas started coming back, though, everything was over the middle. And I know you always say over the middle is our Swiss cheese. Maybe it was just they were just playing prevent, didn't want to get beat over the top. But at that time, it feel like we were giving them easy plays, and Dak was padding his stats late in the game. And next thing you know, they're already down in the red zone. So that was the one thing I didn't like about the secondary. But other than that, I think the Ravens played a flawless game. They just have to, how they start is how they finish. That's the bottom line. I think that's been the model that I've been seeing all around in the locker room, from Lamar to the coaching staff. So let's hope they hold to it, because you can't afford to do that too many times against good teams, or else you're going to get burned.
Totally agree.
So, that's all we have to say. This was a quick one. Sunday night, Buffalo. I think we break out the new uniforms as well. Fans are going to be crazy. We had to get this win. Now they're going to be back involved and motivated with this team to ride behind their coattails and push us to a win. Josh Allen doesn't have the same weapons as he did, but he's still Josh Allen. And so we have to get the same amount of pressure on him as we did Dak, and I think we'll pull out a win if we can do that. So we got to get back that home field aggression that we used to have, where nobody came in Baltimore and won. So we got to get that back, because the Raiders' loss is unacceptable. We can't afford those losses at home, especially. So tune in next week, and let's hope that Ravens will be 2-2 by the next time you hear from us.